Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna play a game that's on itch.io called Requiems Echo. This is from the same creator of the Jujutsu Kaisen Dane Sims, and now it's a Resident Evil Dane Sim. So let's begin. Choose the skin color, I got that done. You step out of the worn-out house, the door creaking behind you as it swings shut. The weight of your gear drags at your body, but it's not just the equipment, it's the years. You've been preparing for this night longer than you care to admit. Every step feels heavy. But you can't stop. Not now. Your gaze lingers on the windows inside. The shadow of your old life remain. A life that feels like a ghost now. Photographs on the wall, dust-covered remains of the forgotten hobbies. There was a time when you had dreams, other dreams. But they're long since crumbled, replaced by a single consuming purpose: hunting. You heard it. Birds flapping in the hurried accent. You knew what that means. Sunset is close. It's time. The bonfire pierces the encroaching darkness, a lone beacon amidst the towering trees. You finish threading the barbed wire from the tree to tree, building a harsh perimeter around the clearing, a trap with no escape. Your gaze drifts towards the horizon as the sun sinks slower, disappearing behind the trees, casting long shadows that stretch like dark fingers crawling at the ground. You need to be fast. They'll come soon. Put trap wires outside the clearing as well. You stand the explosive beyond the clearing, placing trap wires along the outer perimeter. If any of them manage to slip past the first line of defense, these will clutch them. Tonight, there's no escape. The force deepens into the shadow as you finish setting the trap wires. You nod, satisfied, but there's one last step. Pulling out a knife, you make a swift cut across your palm, letting your blood drip onto the soil. It's dark, almost black in the fading light, and the ground drinks it up, vanishing as quickly as it falls. You wrap the wound with a stripe of cloth, tying it until the pain is just a dull throb. You don't usually do this. They're already drawn to the living. But today is different. You need all of them to come. You tried tracking them to their layers before, but the tunnels are too wide, winding, too deep, too impossible to navigate. So instead, you draw them out just like they were humans, using their scent to pull people to their deaths. The brutal contest of hunters, and you intend to be the last one standing. Sliding the gas mask over your face, the rubber cool and constructing against your skin, you settle behind a tree. Okay, can I say it? Because I'm wearing a gas mask. Are you my mommy? There. But, I just have to say a Doctor Who reference. A sharp palm of isolation digs into you. You wish you didn't have to do this alone, but the remaining townsfolk have changed. Consumed by whatever the creatures emit, they've become something else, something hollow. You need to put a stop to this before they sacrifice someone else. The last rays of sunlight disappear, leaving a dense, suffocating silence. It's as if the force itself is holding its breath, aware of what's coming. Your hands tremble slightly as you grip the frame floor. It's metal cold despite the sweat on your palms. As soon as the creatures step into the clearing, the explosives will rip through the first wave, and the barbed wire will hold the rest in place. Then more will come. You pick them off, wave by wave, until there's nothing left but ash. After all these years of hunting, it's all comes down to this. Tonight, either you kill them all, or they finally take you. Leon drives into the city, the streets dead and abandoned, and their ghost town, courtesy of Umbrella. Boarded windows, doors nailed shut, like they're trying to keep something out or in. He wonders how many more are there. He thought that after Umbrella's downfall, they had dealt with all of them, but every now and then another one pops up. He feels it. A prickle on the back of his neck. His eyes flick to a cracked window he passes, but there's nothing there, just shadows shifting with the last light of the day. Hate it when the neighbors are this quiet. The sun sinks lower, bleeding orange and red across the sky. He signs, tapping his fingers on the handlebars. He wanted to get here earlier, but the mission briefing dragged on and the local cops weren't exactly helpful. When he asked if they seen anything strange in their neighborhood, they all gave him the same blank stare. Nope, nothing's there. He's not sure if they're lying, clueless, or just terrified. Or stupid. His GPS flashes guiding it, or all three. His GPS flashes guiding him towards a lab on the outskirts. It's nestled in the forest, up the hill. Easy enough, right? Just give the missing team, check the lab, and find the missing team, check the lab, and get out. Simple. Except it never is. Leon kills the engine and swings off the bike, the silence wrapping around him. The air feels wrong, too still. The kind of stillness that gets under your skin. Okay, Leon, just another spooky force. What could go wrong? He moves one foot, the ground soft under his boots, dead leaves muffling his steps. His hand hovers near his gun. The path is narrow, overgrown, and the shadows stretch out long in the fading light. Then he sees it, a flickering light through the trees. Leon stops, narrowing his eyes. Someone's here. Maybe it's a missing team or someone else. He steps off the path, crouching low behind a tree for cover, watching the bonfire pulse in the dark. Whoever's camping out here has terrible taste in the ambulance. There's a faint smell hits him, sweat, clogging, almost floral. He grips his gun tire, muscles tensing as his instincts kick in. This isn't the usual rotting stretch of BOYS. This is different, wrong. Whoever's ahead, it feels like it's calling to him. The last of the sunlight light slips through the trees. Darkness closes in, and the light flickers again, casting eerie shadows that seem to reach for him. He moves forward, slow and steady. He senses on high alert. He's done this before, more times than he's cared to remember. Whoever's waiting in the dark is not going to catch him off guard. Leon's head is getting foggy. His senses dulled. He can see the fire now, a huge bonfire lighting up the dark. Spying an opening, he steps forward, but something brushes against his chest, a wire. A faint beep reaches him a second too late. Guess I really walked into that one. Tripwire triggers a deafening blast. tearing through the air. You're dead. Continue. Okay, let's see. Let's go continue. Now I'll just put trap wire only inside the clearing. They'll be drawn to the bonfire like moths to a flame. Concentrating on explosives within the clearing will be assured they're right where you want them, where the trap springs. The forest deepens in a shadow as you finish setting the trap wires. You nod, satisfied, but there's one last step. Pulling out a knife, you make a swift cut across your palm, letting your blood drip into the soil. It's dark, almost dark in the fading light. The ground drinks it up, vanishing as quickly as it falls. You wrap the wound with a sharp stripe of cloth, tying it until the pain is just a dull fob. You don't usually do this. They're really drawn to the living. But today's different. You need all of them to come. You tried tracking them to their layers before, but the tunnels are too wide and too deep, too impossible to navigate. So instead, you draw them out, just like they were humans, using their scent to pull people to their depths. It's a brutal contest of hunters, and you tend to be the last one standing. Sliding on the gas mask over your face, the rubber coals and the constructing against your skin, you settle behind the tree. And I'll say again, "Arma mummy." I just have to say it every time I see a gas mask. A sharp pang of isolation digs into you. You wish you didn't have to do this alone, but the remaining townfolk have changed. Consumed by whatever creatures emit, they become something else, something whole. You need to put stop to this before they sacrifice someone else. The last rays of sunlight disappear, leaving dense, suffocating silence. It's all the force. It's as if the force itself holding its breath, aware of what's coming. Your hands tremble slightly as you grip the flamethrower. It's mellow, cold despite the sweat on your palms. As soon as the creatures step into the clearing, the explosive will rip through the first wave, and the barbed wire will hold the rest in place. Then more will come. You pick them off wave by wave until nothing's left but ash. After these years of hunting, it all comes down to this. Tonight, either you kill them all, or they finally take you. Leon drives into the city. The streets okay, I'm just gonna go back to where he saw us. Okay, he grips. Moves forward. He moves forward slowly to steady it, since on his high art he's done this before, more times than he can care to remember. Whoever's waiting for in the dark is not going to catch him off guard. Okay, I won. I did it. You listen, breath fogging the inside of your gas mask. The force feels suffocating, every shadow pressing in, thick with tension. A sharp, creaking noise breaks the silence, a sound of Tissie's legs scrapping over their dry bark. The femur crooks and snaps. You come to associate with the creatures. They're here. Your heart pounds. You steady your breath. The flickering air, dry and stale against your lips. Fears tying around the flamethrower, you prepare to rise from your hiding spot, every muscle coiled. But then movement catches your eye, a figure slipping through the clearing. A man. You freeze, watching as he steps closer to your traps. Wait, is he? He's disabling your trap wires? Your pulse races, heart hammering in your ears. Without thinking, you sprint from your spot, raving through the traps you commit to memory. You, stop! Your voice comes into a muffled, disoriented by the mask. But he halts, turning to face you. With a split second, you're taken back. He's not what you expected. Sharp features, piercing eyes, striking in a way that seems out of the place here. Not the kind of person you expect to stumble into a nightmare like this. Your gaze flickers to his hand, hovering near his gun. Posture tense and controlled. Definitely not a civilian. What the hell do you think you're doing? He raises his eyebrow, unbarred by your tone. These are yours? Yes. How many did you disable already? He tilts his head, thinking for a moment. A few. You curse under your breath, gripping the flamethrower tightly. Just your luck, a clueless outsider, ruining the day you waited years for. Why do you need so many explosives? I'm hunting. His eyes shift to the flamethrower in your hands, then the barbed wire strung against the trees. You have a rare, unconventional way of hunting. Yeah, I went to the Sam and Dean School of Hunting. You take a steady breath. No time for this. You're not from this town, are you? You really should leave now. Your gaze drifts into the tree line, where you sense movement. The scent is starting to sleep in. The silky sweet floral odor the creatures emit. He's not wearing a mask already. You could see a slight glaze and daze in his eyes. He won't last long if they're too close. The man shakes his head, taking a step closer. Not an option. I got to get to that lab, and this is the only way through. You fidget with your flamethrower, torn between curiosity and frustration. Whoever he is, he needs to leave. You have no idea what's going out there. You have no idea what's out there. Turn around, wait until morning. Whatever you're looking for in that lab, it's already been ransacked. But do whatever you want. No, just not right now. Fenmore echoes through the forest, the same clicking, the same sickling creak. They're getting closer. He hears it too, his trance shifting, eyes narrowing. What exactly are you hunting? Before you spawn, a yellow eyes blink into life at the edge of the forest. Dozens of them, gleaming like fireflies in the dark, shifting as they lock onto you. There are more than you expected, likely drawn by the scent as well. By his scent as well. You can't fight them at all without the explosives. Run. You don't wait for his spots. Explosives erupt, the ground shaking underfoot, but the creatures charge through the smoke faster than you anticipated. You dash forward, dodging traps, weaving through the maze of wires and explosives. Gunshots shots ring out behind you. You glance back, catching a sight of him, firing at the creatures as he runs, somehow keeping pace. Save your bullets. It won't kill them. Unless it's the Colt. The Colt will kill anything. Same thing way of hunting. Sharp crack sounds, and suddenly a warm air seeps into the mask. A piece of debris must have punctured it. You're exposed now. No spare within reach. You can only keep running, barreling through the underbrush, you fire the flamethrower behind you, a wave of fire, scorching the air. The creatures shrink and stumble back, but keep coming. You see him aim, shoot one of the explosives rigged to the nearby tree. The explosive rocks the clearing, and smoke blankets everything, the forest erupting into chaos. You run until you far away, gasping as you tear off the broken mask. The cold night air fills your lungs, and it feels like failure. Everything you built is gone. The traps, the explosives, all of it wasted. The man catches up, glancing back at the smoke and fire flickering at the distance. His gun is still in hand, and he looks unfazed. Quiet the fireworks show back there. He looks at you, raising an eyebrow. What were those things? You fought them before, right? Your blood boils, and you throw the broken mask to the ground. It's your fault. So I'm just gonna blame myself. You should have kept going. Should have stuck with the plan. Ignore the outsider. Your fury fades, giving away the hollow sense of defeat. I prepared for this day for a long time. I was going to kill all of them. There's no way you could have taken them all down on your own. You shake your head, chuckling low as tears prickle at your eyes. You have no energy left, are you? Right, I should have known. I've already failed so many people. What's one more mistake? Look, I didn't mean to mess things up. Leave, outsider, before you mess things up even further. It's not safe here. He narrows his eyes, looking at you with a calm that only makes you frustrated. Frustration fare harder. Not for me, for you. You're going to get yourself killed if you keep this up. Excuse me? You're the one who almost got yourself killed back there. I'm trained for this. I can handle it. You don't know these things like I do. They lure you with their scent. You want to get to the lab now? Go ahead. But you end up like everyone else who tried, dead. He pauses for the first time. You see his expression soften slightly as he stares you. Did you see a team come through here? A lot of people come through here. They go to the lab, they get what they want, and they leave us to our fate. Or they go and never come back. Whoever you're looking for, they're probably dead or worse. The man looks towards the forest. His expression turns sober, thoughtful. I need to go to the lab and figure out what's happened to them. I'm not leaving until I do. You shake your head. Unsurprised, of course. They're all the same. Good luck, you'll need it. Without waiting for a response, you turn and march away, ignoring the H in your chest. You got to start all over again. Rebuild. Rearm. Your hand finds a pendant resting against your chest. You grip it tightly, letting the familiar shape press into your skin. I'm sorry. You storm back to the house, slamming the door behind you. The gear drops from your hands, but you barely notice. All you can think about is him, the arrogant outsider with his stoic face. You grit your teeth. He's going to get himself killed, you know it. He doesn't even have a mask. The second he gets close to the lab, he's good as dead. You told him to leave, warned him that was what was out there. If he dies, that's on him. You owe him nothing. He ruined your plan. Your final chance at saving the rest of this town. But the thought of him stumbling into the lab close galled at you. Why the hell do you care? You shouldn't. You don't. Despite the hunter's aggression, Leon decides to heed her warning. He waits until early morning before heading to the lab, her sharp words still lingering in his mind. He can't shake the thought that she left too abruptly, without giving him a real chance to help. He could have used more intel, and maybe keep an eye on her too. The last thing he wants is to watch another life get swallowed by Umbrella's mess. They've taken too much already. He shakes his head, recalling the fierce determination in her eyes, the way she seemed set on wiping out those creatures at any cost. There's no doubt in his mind that the BOWs are involved here. He's seen enough of Umbrella's twisted work to recognize the signs. It's almost oppressive. In a grim way, she held her ground for so long. The lab looms ahead, abandoned and half crumpled. He pushes through the entrance. The hunter hadn't been lying. The place has been thoroughly ransacked. Papers scattered, equipment smashed. Whatever was here is long gone. Perfect more loose ends. Umbrella has so many labs scattered around the globe, it's been nearly impossible to track them all down. Some, like this one, escaped the government's eye, but not the mercenaries. He looks around, wondering what they stole this time, and what it might lead to. Another outbreak? Another bioweapon? It's always something. Oh yeah, because Umbrella is an evil organization. It makes Aperture look like a safe haven, because technically it is compared to Black Mesa. It makes Black Mesa look like a safe haven too, so at least theirs was a mistake in a bit. As soon as he finds out that this new threat is, the better. Maybe the rest of the town and the hunter can still be saved. He pauses, his mind drifting back to Spain, the village, the people, so many lives destroyed, so many people who never had a chance. He clenches his fist, wishing again that he could stop it all for good. But nothing is ever that simple. He's just one man, fighting an endless war. Still, he'll do what he can, like he always does. He pulls himself back to the present, focusing on the task. After rummaging through a few cabinets, he finds a torn notebook, its pages smudged with age and grime. It seems like a personal diary of the lead scientist. April 12th, 1988. Intel test with intentional test with the mold on humans have been promising, though great cost. Mortality rates are high, but I am confident I will create a host strong enough to receive the Prometer virus. November 3rd, 1990. I seem to have found a way to reduce mortality rates, but the subjects are changing disturbingly so. They become more moth-like. Though imperfectly, the process of HGT appears to be reasonable. These hyperbirds are more half human, now half human, half insect, emitting a powerful sense that draw humans towards them. The smell acts like the pheromones of a female moth, reducing in a heightened arousal state in those nearby. Are they Mothman? I'm going to nickname Mothman. Task and mask are now mandatory for all personnel in these in the test areas. Subjects may remain contained at all costs. This might prove useful to capture the now new test subjects. August 14th, 1992, the townsfolk whisper about a creature of folklore roaming the forest. Mothman, which serves our purpose well. A new development subjects have begun reproducing. Their larvae feed exclusively on human flesh. I am uncertain if these offspring will be able to receive the virus, but its potential breakthrough, we will continue observing. March 2nd, 1993. Disappointing results. The offspring are weak, unable to withstand virus integration. It appears that the strength of the parents is critical. Only the strongest host can pass on resilience. The weaker offspring have been discarded. I require more test subjects, stronger adults, preferably those in their physical prime. The town's population will be depleted soon if we're not careful. Leon flips through the pages, but dozens of entries are missing. Years torn away, leaving only a final one. Frantic. Scrambled handwriting, as if the scientist had written it in his last desperate moments. February 8th, 2003. Umbrella has cut us off. The facility is compromised. Damn, you guys make Voltec look like saints. Voltec may or may not have led to a global annihilation, a global apocalypse. Someone set the creatures loose. They're everywhere, and the staff have begun to fall. I managed to escape with my mask intact, but the end is near. There is no redemption for me. But I will seek forgiveness. All the same, the church, perhaps it's the last place I'll find peace. After that, I leave the cursed town for good. Yeah, you're making Voltec seem like a saint. Because at least there were some saints. Some people that were nice. The church, huh? You radios 100 relaying the situation and the contents of the diary. She promises to notify the higher-ups and arrange for reinforcements, but of course, it'll take time. Leon signs. Reinforcements always take time. I'll send you the blueprints. We have the file for the lab. There's mention of an underground facility. Looks like you'll need a key card to get in. Understood, thanks. He follows her directions and finds a door to the underground section, but she warns, it's locked. Tight. He needs to get in if he wants to find what happens to be the missing team. But as he's about to search elsewhere, he finds a faint noise. Then a familiar scent reaches him. Sicky sweet, clogging, with a strange floral edge. But the hunter didn't say things... Didn't the hunter say these things only came out at night? Well, if it's already in the building, sir. The smell thickens. He heads swimming slightly. He snaps his gun up. Instincts kicking in, as if something stuffles closer to in the dark. It's also dark. Also maybe just cut off the head. If it's still going, you run for the hills. He fires, the gun shot ringing out, but the creature barely slows, advancing with twisted, insectoid screech. The flames light up the room. Then flames light up the room. Me, out of nowhere. He turns, catching sight of the hunter. Her face is scared by her gas mask. A leaf flares up, but it's brief. Which part of bullets don't work didn't you get? Or do you just like wasting ammo. The only bullet that's gonna work is the Colt. Just cut off the head. His jaws tighten, annoyance replacing his earlier disbelief. Of course, she has to make this difficult. The man catches up with you outside. His face narrowed, but I can almost see the flicker of relief beneath his guarded expression. You followed me. Next time, if you want a closer look, maybe just ask. You want to see if you were as competent as you claimed. You give him a once over. Unimpressed. Clearly not. Yeah, you waste me ammo. I had everything under control. Next time, just get a knife and start stabbing it. Probably will work better, bleed out. I had everything under control. You scoffed, not really trying to hide your frustration. Sure, if you plan to stick around, you need a mask, outsider. I will always be here to save your butt. Name's Leon. And I figured that out myself, thanks. You shake your head and turn your heel, ready to leave him to his fate. I found a door to an underground section of the lab. You pause, glancing back. The creatures probably hide there during the day. That's where their nests are. You'd never be able to kill them all without going down there. And to get in, we'll need a keycard. He nods towards the lab's entrance, then looks back at you, his gaze steady. And supplies, if we want to blow this place sky high. You raise an eyebrow, skeptical. I'm not thrilled about it. But you're going to keep hunting them anyway, right? Right? Might as well join forces. You search his face for any sign of deception. But he just stares back, annoying calm. You don't trust this guy, but you're willing to take a chance to end this, even if it means teaming up. Fine. Well, that was easy. Keep talking, and I'll change my mind. I'll change my mind. You pull an old, worn map of the town from your jacket. Oh, this is where Leon steps in to look at the map, his shoulder brushing against yours. For a moment, you catch the scent of him, sweat and smoke from the fight, and mixed with something faintly sharp, like aftershave. It's oddly distracting, and you step back with a glare. Here's a layout of the town. Most of the gas masks have been destroyed by the townfolk, but we might find a few at the... It's a hard and throat tighten. Fire station. His gaze flicker at you, catching hesitation in your voice. Why did the townsfolk destroy the mask? Memories flash through your mind of glassy-eyed townsfolk in the crazed frenzy, their minds lost to the pheromones, endless stuff. The way they practically worship the creatures now, like twisted prophets of a new grotesque religion. Okay, so we're in I know it's a Resident Evil game, but my brain goes and thinks of one episode in Supernatural with the insects, and it also went to Fallout 76 with the legend. So we're a mixture of Supernatural and Fallout now. I've never played Resident Evil. It's against their beliefs. I had a few spare ones, but they got destroyed yesterday thanks to a noisy outsider. Maybe you should have kept them somewhere safer. And maybe you should have never came here. A faint smirk tugs at his lips, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Do not have missed out on meeting such a charming person as yourself. You glare, hating the way he just won't stop back down, the way he seems to find humor in every jab. And where can we find explosives? Construction. You jab a finger at the spot on the map. Here at the construction site, there should be some left in the crates. With any luck, they'll still be intact. Leon studies the map with a furrowed brow, then nods. The keycard is probably in the church. I'll find a note about it back in the lab. He looks up and meets your gaze with infuriating calm. You're the local. Where do you want to start? Technically, we should start at the fire station and get a mask. Then get the explosions, and then go to church. I'm going with the fire station. You just take a deep breath and walk inside the fire station, just as empty and abandoned as it was the last time you came here. But now, standing inside it again, you feel the weight pressing down harder than before. The memories flood back uninvited. The sound of your father's voice, the sight of him in his gear, the pride in his eyes when he talks about the work he did. It's been years, but somehow the pain feels fresh, sharp as a broken glass. Leon scans the surroundings. His gaze darting around the room, assessing every potential threat and exit. His stance betrays his training, all business and all vigilance. You, on the other hand, are just trying to keep yourself together, forcing one foot in front of the other. The last thing you want is for him to see how much this place affects you. The lay's simple. First floor has a main room, stored some lockers upstairs. Risky. There's probably nothing we need up there. You know an awful lot. You catch a flicker of curiosity in his eyes, and attention seizes in your chest. Memories flash in too fast to block them out. Your father's gruff laugh echoing off the walls. The smell of burning wood from the old stove. The sound of men joking, slapping each other on the back. The age you kept buried for so long sharpens, setting like a stone in your chest. I came here a lot when I was younger. You keep your voice flat, but Leon's gaze narrows, as though he could see straight through the wall you're trying to put up. He's not stupid. He knows there's more that you're not saying. For a moment, his brow froze. His expression softens just enough that it makes you uneasy. You could feel him weighing his words, like he's considering saying something kind, something that might crack through the armor you built around yourself. If this place means something to you, we can. Don't. Your voice comes out sharper than intended, cutting him off before he can finish. You don't care. The last thing you need is him poking around in parts of you that aren't his business. Leon's jaw tightens, his mouth pressing into the thin line. For a moment, he just looks at you, an unreadable expression in his eyes. Finally, he gives a short nod, clearly deciding to drop it. Fine. The words land heavily between you, thickening the silence, and you feel the distance growing, as if both of you are retreating behind invisible walls, mirroring each other's defenses. The quiet stretches taunt with unspoken things neither of you are willing to acknowledge. At least, Leon jerks his head towards the staircase, his voice cold and brisk. We should check the second floor, too. Could be more supplies up there. The stretcher is a mess. It's better if we stick to the first floor. Make sure we don't miss anything. His eyes narrow, his stance firm as he's digging in his heels just to challenge you. That's exactly why we must go up. The townsfolk probably haven't searched there. It might be worth the risk. The frustration curls tighter in your chest, the weight of the memories pressing down like lead. You want to tell him to back off, to stay out of place. He doesn't belong, but the stubborn set of his jaw mirrors your own, and you know he's not going to back down. I would say follow my gut, but I'll just go with his idea. You grit your teeth, unwilling to argue further. Fine, we'll go to the second floor then. Together you make your way to the creaking staircase. Floorboards groan underneath, and step inside feels like it could be the last. Your eyes scan the empty, depleted space and searching for anything useful. Just as you're about to turn back, Leon gestures to a dusty corner near the row of broken lockers. Found something. 2 gas masks lying there, half hidden beneath some debris. But before you could respond, the floor beneath you gives a sudden, violent lurch. You allow a gasp, stumbling into the wood cracks and shift under your feet. Leon reacts instantly and grabs you by the arm and pulls you against him just as the ground crumbles beneath you both. You crash down together, the impact sending a jolt of pain for your body. For a moment, you're too stunned to move, lying tangled in debris with Leon's arm still wrapped around you. His breath is heavy, his face close enough that you can feel the warmth radiating off him. Guess I was right about the floor. You shrug his arm off as you push yourself up. Thanks for almost getting us killed. Leon scolds, his voice dripping with sarcasm. You're welcome. You grab the 2 masks, your fingers trembling just slightly, and turn to head back up the stairs, refusing to look his way. As you're moving, your hand brushes against something small, solid in the dust. You stop, bending down to pick it up. Your breath catches. It's a photograph, worn and faded, edges curling from the age. Your father and his colleagues, smiling and alive, their faces blurred but unmistakable. You swallow hard, a lump forming in your throat. For a second, you consider showing it to Leon, sharing the piece of yourself just this once. Well, he won't even know who this person is, but then the walls come back. Solid and unwielding. You fold the photo and slip it under your pocket, its edges digging into your skin like a reminder. Leon's voice breaks through the quiet, snapping you out of the moment. Find anything else? Your hand tightens around the photo. Keep hiding it deeper in your pocket. No, let's leave. He doesn't question it, and you follow him out of the station, leaving behind the memories of the ghosts that cling to the place like shadows. The silence between you is heavy, as ever, and through you walk side by side, you feel miles apart. By the time they reach her house, the sky deepened to a dark, heavy blue, and the evening chill has settled around them. She stopped abruptly at her door, noticing a bloody note tacked to the wood, a smear of crimson smeared across the words. She reads it with scoff, crumbles it to her hand, and tosses it aside without a second thought. Leon glances down, catching streaks of ink mixed with dried blood. What does it say? She gives him a dry, humorous laugh. One of the town's leaders is warning me off. saying I've killed too many of their precious creatures, but they don't like the balance between being disturbed. She shrugs, an edge of bitterness in her voice. They tried to stop me before, nothing new. Aren't they going to come after you for that? Let them try. Her tone is sharp, edged with awareness that speaks of repetition. If they do, I have other hideouts. I have the bullets with their names on it. Actually, wait, I'm supposed to be protecting them, right? Never mind. She pushes the door open, stepping inside without looking back. Leon follows, and the place hits him like a wall. A strange, stifling mix of mothballs and plant oils. The windows sealed tightly, containing curtains drawn to block out any stray pheromones. As she moves through the small space, her movements are precise, with each purpose-driven. She glides over the concealed compartment in the floor, pulls it open, and retrieves a gallon of fuel, refilling the flamethrower with a practiced hand. She doesn't spare him a glance, acting as if he were just another fixture in the room, an afterthought. Leon watches her, seeing himself reflected in her harsh routines, the methodical way she checks every corner. Every movement screams survival, but it's more than that. She's wrapped herself in layers of armor, bound tightly by invisible barbed wire, keeping the world at arm's length. He's worn that same armor himself, felt the sting of each barb, and he knows how hard it is to let anyone get close. He sat on the worn chair, focusing on tending to your wounds, clearing and wrapping them quickly. Experienced movements. Leon is scanning your space, his eyes drawn to the small cluster of faded photographs on the shelf, his fingers hovering over one of them. Hesitating. When did all this start? You keep your eyes on your wound, tying the bandages just a little too hard. 3 years ago. A pause, then you add, almost as if forcing yourself to speak. The creatures have been around as much as I can remember. They take a few people each month, and no one cared, unless it was family. Just some old folk ward, or a story to scare kids into staying inside after dark. The Mothman will get you. You take a deep breath, flying down the memories crawling their way up. But then the lab shut down, everything changed. They came every night, like clockwork, taking anyone outside after dark. Anyone who didn't make it inside was gone by morning. Now it seems they only hunt whenever they need to, and it helps that the townspeople offer them sacrifices every week without fail. Yeah, this town's kind of, I'm going to say, yeah, this town. Let them do this. Just get out. The room goes silent, your words hang in the air like a shadow. You brace yourself for him to speak about the people in the photos, about your family, about the ones you lost. But instead, his voice, quieter, weighted with something you can't quite place. Why didn't you leave? You freeze, your hands still on the bandages. You don't answer right away, letting his questions settle into the silence. Then you resume tending your wounds, though your voice is flat and controlled. Where would I go? I made a promise. I'm not leaving until last one of those things is dead. No point in a promise you're not around to see it through. He nods towards the wounds he earned along the way and you roll your eyes. Spare me, Letcher. Someone has to fight. It's just ended up being me. You step closer, your body goes frigid, instinctively pulling back. But he holds out a small tin, something herbal and potent, with a mixture of earthy scents, lavender, and other sharp herbs. What is this? For energies, works wonders. Instantly you take it, your eyes never leaving his. You steady him for a beat. Finally, breaking the silence. Who exactly are you? He looks at you, his expression unwaveable, a flicker of something cautious before he answers. Government agent. It makes sense now. He's calm in the face of the creatures and the way he handles himself during the day, but that doesn't explain everything. You said you were trained for this kind of situation? How many times have you dealt with things like this? Too many. He sighs for a moment. His face softens, his cigar slipping just enough for you to catch a glimpse of something deeper. I was a rookie cop the first time it happened. I had to learn the hard way, and afterwards I didn't exactly have a choice. Was that the first game? I can't remember, because I haven't played it. I know about the series. For a brief second, you see something raw in his eyes, something that feels uncomfortable, close to your own reflection. You didn't have a choice either, not in any of this. Why didn't you leave? Surprise flicker across his face, and for an instant you catch a glimpse of something like pain. It's not that simple. You think you might finally get something real out of him, a piece of truth told back, but then, just as quickly, his wall snapped back into place. And someone has to fight. It just ended up being me. He's putting your words right back into back, using his for him. You let out a hollow chuckle, but stop yourself before it fully escaped. You can't afford to get comfortable around him. If he doesn't seem like a threat now, you remind yourself that he's just another outsider. And for all you know, he's only here being nice to get under your skin, to make you lower your guard, only to leave like everyone else has. He shoved the tin of herbal medication back at him, a bit more forcefully than necessary. Here, agent, you need it more than me. He looks down at it, raising an eyebrow as he takes it back, his expression somewhere between amused and unimpressed. Your reckless confidence is almost charming. I could say the same to you. Careful, don't fall in love. I could say the same to you. Well, I am charming. With a roll of your eyes, you settle into the couch, laying down with half an eye on the door. The other on Leon, who sits a few feet away from with his back to the wall, quietly bombing and clearing his guns. Disarming. Your eyes close, but your mind stays alert. Every crack of the old house keeping you tethered to consciousness. It isn't just the threats outside that keep you awake. It's a strange sharing. It's the stranger sharing your space. The one person who could throw everything you worked for into chaos. Or he might help us. Sleep, I'll take first watch. You start to protest, but he cuts you off with a steady look. If we're going to be a team, you need to trust me. You don't respond, but you allow yourself to sink into light, restless sleep. Your senses half turn to the sound of the night. The hours stretch on, and the room clocked in heavy silence, and yet With Leon there, for the first time in months, it doesn't seem quite as suffocating. Despite the friction, the guarded words in the wall he both fused to lower, his presence makes the situation feel... His presence makes the silence feel like a little less unbearable. I don't know why I said situation. You wake up to the sound of soft chattering in the kitchen. Your muscles are stiff, your body's still on the high alert, but you blink, your eyes open, the scent of something cooking hits your senses, something you haven't smelled in a long time. You sit up, rubbing the sleep from your eyes. The morning light filters through the cracked window, casting muted shadows across the room. When you finally focus, you see him, Leon, standing by the stove, frying something in the pan. He looks back to you. Why didn't you wake me up? What are you doing? Why didn't you wake me up? Leon glances at his shoulder before turning back to the stove. You looked like you needed the rest. I don't need your sympathy. We're going to be fighting together. You need to be alert. What about you? I'm fine. He plates the food and sets it down on the table, gesturing to it with a casual wave. You eyed the meal with narrow eyes, suspicious but intrigued. Leon shrugs. Dig in or don't. More for me. You sit down, delicately, glancing at the food. Simple but warm. The smell is actually not kind of nice. They never admit that either. It's better than anything you've ever had in a while. You picked up the fork, stabbing it, stab into the food without much ceremony, but you're already feeling a little less irritated. Where are you going today? He asked, trying to steer the conversation back to something practical, something that doesn't feel domesticated. Leon sits across from you, shrugging as he eats. You recall. I guess now we can go for the church instead of the I guess we'll just go for the construction and then the church, because we would be all ready. The construction site looks the same as you remember: rusting metal frames, cracked concrete, and the piles of debris waiting to collapse at any moment. The maze of danger, even before the creatures started to roam. You've gotten most of the explosives out over the years, but there's always a few crates in places too risky to reach on your own. Maybe now, with Leon's help, you could finally grab the rest. As you lead him through the site, you feel the weight of his gaze scanning the area, always sussing, always alert. He moves like a trained agent, calculating and confident. He makes it all look so easy, like he's strolling through the park instead of half-collapsed death trap. It's definitely a death trap. Then voices echo throughout the steel beams, faint but unmistakable. You and Leon freeze at the same time. We need to clear all the junk out. She's still using these damn explosives. I don't know where she keeps finding more of them. Crap, you can't see them, but you could hear their footsteps crunching through the rubble. Too many of them to handle head on. Tension curls in your gut as you look at Leon. He's already watching you with a annoying calm expression. Is this gonna pull out the gun and shoot them, right? If you want to search in peace, we need to get rid of them. Or we could just sneak past them. You shoot him a withering glare, voice dripping with sarcasm. Yeah, because that worked so well with me in the past. These people aren't exactly blind, Leon. Getting them to leave is safer. Or shooting them. Sneaking past them is smarter. Less chances of getting caught. I'll let him do it. The air between you crackles, each of you digging in your heels, neither willing to back down. I'll just sneak past him. He has a gun, right? He let out a frustrated sigh, but we went. Fine, we'll do it your way this time. You both crouch down, moving quietly for the sight. Leon takes the lead, his movements smooth and silent. You follow, every muscle tense, hyper-aware of the townsfolk patrolling nearby. The faint sound of their voices in a constant reminder of the danger, and for a moment you could almost feel his confidence sweeping into you, staying your own steps. After what feels like forever, you reach the cluster of crates, and you start rummaging through them as quietly as possible. And they're empty. But they're empty. You glance at Leon, frustration simmering. Searching stuffily will take too long. Then a voice shatters the silence. Who's there? Stop right there. Go on, shoot. Your heart launches, and before you can even process the words, gunshots ring out, echoing through the crumbling site. You and Leon bolt, adrenaline flooding your veins as you scramble over broken concrete and piles of rusted metal. Shouts chase after you. Growing louder and closer, you stumble, and Leon's hand shoots out, gripping your arm and pulling you just in time, keeping you from face planting on top of debris. Fully manage to lose them, ducking into the quieter, hidden section of the concentration site. Once you're safer, he pulled your arm free, wincing as a sharp pain flares up in your leg. Great plan, Leon. Real smooth. Hey, at least we got working. Cardio is porn. You roll your eyes, but hold back a harsher retort. The two of you search the crates nearby, working quickly. After a few minutes, you had finally landed a stash of explosives. You lift it with a sigh of relief, but part of you wonders if it will be enough. You move to a different crate and try to pry it open. Let me. I can do it. I know, I just don't want you to get hurt. You give him a skeptical look, arching eyebrow. Look at you, being a gentleman. I'm always am. You half it as he steps in, taking your spot with that infuriating calm. Oh, his shirt just takes off, gets all torn. But in his eagerness, his shirt snags in a jagged piece of metal, jolting out from the crate, tearing down the side to expose the stripe of bearskin. You can't help but smirk that tugs at your lips. Nice one, Agent. He looks down at the ruined shirt, unimpressed. Just what I needed. You turn back to the explosives, putting them in the bag, trying to ignore the rustling fabric behind you. He just takes off the shirt. Just then you glance over, he's shrugging off the shirt entirely, leaving his upper body bare. Every line of muscle and scar exposed in the dim light. For a second, you caught off guard, your eyes lingering at the hard planes of his chest and the subtle movements of his shoulders. You force yourself to look away, jaw clenched, but he notices, and he clearly is not letting you off the hook. Didn't think you'd get distracted that easily. You clench your jaw, allowing your pulse to steady. I'm just wondering if you're planning on stuttering around like that, we are here for supplies, not a show. He chuckles, tossing the torn shirt aside with a smirk. As much as you'd love that, I got a spare on my bike. Unless, of course, you want me to stay like this. Without missing a beat, you raise an eyebrow, leaning in just enough to make him hesitant. And what if I do? He blinks, clearly not expecting that. You let a small, mocking smile slip through before pulling back. He laughs and messing with you, as if I would ever want that. Let's go. He grabs the bag from you, a hint of a frown, creasing his eyebrow as he mutters under his breath. Could have fooled me. You roll your eyes, turning your heel, and heading towards the bike. But as you walk, you could feel his gaze lingering on you, like he's trying to puzzle something out. The ride back to your place is shrouded in rich, amber glow of the setting sun, casting long shadows across the path. Leon tries to focus on the road, but it's hard to ignore the warmth of her thighs pressed against him. The way her grip tightens every time they hit a bump. She's distracting in an fearing, impossible to ignore way. As he near her place, he sprouts a small group gathering on a street corner, their voices low but thick with tension. She taps his shoulder, signaling for him to stop. They both listen, half hidden in the deepening shadows. Bodies in the forest. She's done it again. She needs to be stopped. Leon's gaze shifts, taking in the bruises and scars wrapped around the group's wrist, legs, and even their necks. Their marks, they look like chains, binding them to something unseen. She'll get what she deserves soon. He glances back at her. She rolls her eyes, acting unfazed by their words, but he doesn't miss the way her hands clutch the handles by the bike seat, knuckles turning white. Eventually, the group dispenses. Leon nudges the bike forward, guiding it through the empty street as dusk ascends from them. Silence stretches between them, thick and charged, until he breaks it. What's with the scars? She's quiet for a moment, gaze fixed on the road ahead, her voice dripping to a low, almost resigned tone. They tie themselves down while they breathe in the creature's scent. It keeps them from wandering into the woods and getting killed. But the effects, it's kind of like the effect still lingers. They're too far gone, all of them. The shiver runs down his spine, unexpected and unwelcome. He decides to shift the mood. Well, it seems you're pretty proper around here. She huffs, as if shaking off the weight of the conversation. I'm the most popular in town. Get their facts straight. He accelerates the bike, jolting it forward, and then weave through the empty streets. Her arms distinctly wrapped around his wrist, pressing her body firmly against his bike. Glancing over his shoulder, he smirks. You better hold on, Miss Popular. I'll hold on, all right. Just tight enough to choke you out. She pinches his side hard, and he fakes a yelp in pain, though for a grin. Catching the smile in his face, at least he managed to break through the walls, even if just for a moment. You sit on the floor, turning the focus to your bandages. Leon manages to shift the mood a little on the wide back, but the heaviness still lingers. His sadness twists your gut as you remember the faces of the townsfolk you once knew. People who had welcomed you, people whose stores you visited, whose homes you sing with your family. Now, they're hollow, driven only by urge to kill you. The memory hits harder than you like. You reach the spot on your back where the old wound has started to age, maybe even open up again. But you can't reach it. Curse softly. You drop your hand, feeling both exhausted and helpless. Liam moves closer, crouching beside you. His face is unreadable. His gaze shifts to your wounds. Something unspoken flickering in his eyes. Can I? Yes. You hesitate. The mixture of bone-deep exhaustion and something deeper, something harder to name, unsettling to you. And for a beat, you nod. Hands move to your back and press his fingers steadily, carefully. The touch is firm yet gentle. You feel the warmth of his fingertips and the weight of his focus, and you flinch, unprepared for the unexpected tenderness. A lump rises in your throat, and you realize that it's been years since anyone touched you like that, like this, wide, with care, and hit you harder than any wound could. Did it hurt? No. You keep your gaze fixed ahead, focusing on the sharp, earthy smell of the herb scattering, rather than the heat of his hands on the skin. But it's impossible to ignore him completely. He asks where the spare gas is, and you mumble to the location, barely aware of the words leaving your mouth. When he finishes, his thumb lingers, gazing over your skin as he can't quite bring himself to let go. Your pulse races, involuntary reaction to you're certain he feels under his fingertips. The realization snaps you out of it, and you push yourself up quietly, turning to face him. Thank you. The words die in your lips as you catch sight of him. A half-formed laughing bubble up instead. Leon tilts his head and confused. What happened? What happened? His hair is tangled with a cobwebs, a bit of dust, probably from where he reached up for the gauze, and you tried to hold back your amusement, but it's impossible. Nothing, spider boy. Leon's hand immediately goes to his head, fingers brushing through his hair. Perfect. Just the look I was going for. Dungeon cheek. Your laugh spills over, breaking the silence. There's too much webbing, and he can't seem to clear it. No, idiot. Here, let me do it. He goes still as you reach for him, fingers working carefully through the strand of his hair. The room falls quietly, and a silence thickening around you as you pick out each bit of webbing. His breathing slows, deepens, and when your fingers brush against his scalp, you feel his chest rise, a slight hitch in his breath. You keep moving, but there's a strange awareness between you, a heightened focus in each movement, each accidental brush of your fingers. For a moment, he lifts his eyes, meeting yours. They're darker, softer, watching you with intensity that makes your heart skip. You could feel the warmth of him, smell the faint scent of gunpowder and leather that clinches to him, and when his gaze drops to your mouth, he lets out a breath. Small, almost soundless, but heavy. His shoulders tense, like he's holding himself back, following some internal battle. He pulls hammers, your fingers pausing in his hair, frozen by the realization that his hand is hovering close to your wrist, close enough for you to feel its warmth, even without the touch. The moment stretches, something electric in the air between you both, your breath mingling in the charged quiet. Wait. He paused, holding his gaze for a moment, the air thickening between you. Land shifts, blinking, as if breaking the spell, then shaking his head, taking a half step back, his eyes darting everywhere, but at you. You clear your throat, hoping he can't hear the faint tremor in it. I'll take first watch tonight. You should rest. He watches you almost like he was about to argue, but something in your expression, or maybe it's his own exhaustion, stops him. He gives you a small, redolent nod, then settles down on the couch. You watch as he finally lets his guard drop, even if only for a moment, his shoulders relaxing into the cushions, as his eyes fall shut. You glance down at your fingers, the tingle lingering, reminding you of the warmth that's still caught between you both. The warmth of the sunset fades slowly, casting the room in muted shadows, soft and heavy. You settle onto the couch, flamethrower in hand, half alert to every shift, every quiet sound from where Leon sleeps. Despite the pull of exhaustion, you resist, staying alert, eyes sharp as you keep watch. Just as your mind begins to shift, a soft, choked sound pierces the silence, half muffled, yet unmistakable. Leon stirs restlessly, his face twisting in the dim light, caught in the thorns of whatever nightmare haunt him. The faint pain sound feels like a punch in the chest, striking too close, you can't bear it. Without thinking, you cross the room, sitting beside him, and place a hand on his shoulder, gently shake him awake. Leon, wake up. His eyes slowly open, wide and unfocused, his gaze meeting yours with a mix of fear and confusion. His breathing is uneven, and for a moment, he doesn't move, he doesn't speak, as though he's still trapped somewhere else. Slowly, his gaze sharpens, taking in the familiar surroundings. He rubs a shaky hand over his face, his forehead damp with sweat. A faint shiver runs through him. You're unused to offer comfort. Was it the word actually? Unfamiliar to offering comfort. If we're using unfamiliar with the vulnerability of it, but you remember small, distant gestures, how your parents would hold you, ground you when the night grew too dark. It's over now. You're safe. Breathe with me, all right? Just take in one breath at a time. Leon takes a slow, steady breath, mirroring your calm inhale, his chest rising in sync with yours. A hint of relief crosses his face as he follows your lead. His breathing becomes steadier with each inhale. Acting on instinct, you lean in closer, your hand lingering on his shoulder. His body steps towards yours, unconsciously seeking out warmth and steadiness. He pressed closer, his hand finding its way to the small of your back, his fingers flexing as if to search for something solid to ground on. It's too much. I know. I don't know what scares me more, the thing I've seen, or the idea that this might be the rest of my life. I barely remember what normal even feels like. Without thinking, you pull him into a tighter, committed to the feel of his warmth, and stay pressed of the weight against you to memory. I get it. I wish I didn't, but I do. He hums softly, a sound halfway between relief and resignation? Yeah, resignation. His tension melting as he lets himself lean into you. His breathing stays, and for a moment, the two of you are wrapped in a shared silence, a kind that feels less empty and more whole. You start to imagine, just for a second, what life would be What a life like this would be, where these quiet, stolen moments were too rare, where his touch wasn't fleeting. Then, as if sensing the shift, he quickly pulls back. His gaze drops, and he clears his throat, a barrier raising again between you. Thanks. I'll keep watch now. I won't be able to fall asleep anyway. He rises to his feet, stepping towards the kitchen, but not before you catch a brief flicker in his eyes. A look that mirrors a feeling still lingering on your skin, the strange subtle ache left by his warmth. Suddenly you take his spot on the couch, your mind spinning, replaying the warmth, the closeness, the way he held you for the brief charged moment. You know, rest won't come easily tonight. He washes her as she sleeps, her face softened in the quiet peace of it. The comfort between them tonight had been good, too good, unnervingly good, so he shouldn't let himself get too attached. He knows better than anyone how quickly trauma brides people, leaving fragile connections from shared pain. But soon he'll be gone, off to fight some other nightmare in some other cursed place. She could still have a life after this, something steady, something real, something he gave up a long time ago. I'm not gonna stay here. What's his face? If we get this, I'll probably go with you, because I'm not staying with people that are trying to kill me. It's too late for him. He's been carrying the weight for this for too long to think he could ever put it down. The idea of the future, of life beyond the fight, hovers in the back of his mind like a cold joke, something he refuses to reach for. He won't let himself hope for anything beyond survival. Hope is dangerous. He can't afford it. You wake up in soft light of the early morning, filtering through the sealed windows. A quiet stillness hanging in there. For a moment, you let yourself lie there, gathering the fractured pieces of last night in your mind. His warmth, the way he leaned into your embrace before pulling away. The echoes of it lingering, a faint RH that tightens in your chest. But then you finally sit up. Any traces of that moment is gone. Leon stands near the door, his back to you as he checks his gear, his movements sharp and efficient, a steady resolve masking any vulnerability he's shown. He doesn't look at you, doesn't even acknowledge your presence as you rise. The contrast is jarring, the memory of the last night's closeness dissolving into the cold distance of his posture. Breakfast is on the table. Eat, we need to move. You frown, the edge of the frustration tugging at you. His tone is clipped, his eyes hard as he straps on his gear, every action radiating as almost parable wall of distance. It's as if he's put up another layer of armor overnight, shutting you out entirely. Good morning to you too. He pauses, and for a split second, you catch a flicker of something almost guilty on his face, but it's gone as quickly as it appears, his gaze hardening as he turns back to his gear. How do you feel? Fine. Don't get the wrong idea about yesterday. His words sting colder than you expected. You gaze, refusing to let him see how much they affect you. Same, it didn't mean anything. You're still inseparable. Good. Good. You square your shoulders, throwing hard down your own frustration as you gather your things, each movement pointed and deliberate. After last night, this cold detachment feels like a slap. a calculated retreat back into distance. One more stop, and then we're nearly free of this hellhole and everyone in it, right? He glances at you, his jaw tightening as he's holding back a response. For a second, you wonder if he's softened, but his face stays set, a mask of indifference. Right. It's a dismissal, plain and simple. You force yourself to look unfazed. You gulp down the breakfast he prepared, refusing to let him see how his sudden shift has gone under your skin. The silence between you is thick and heavy, each of you moving with a determination that borders on anger. You spend the day lugging equipment back and forth to your hideout near the lab, loading up your fuel and explosive, taking turns on Leon's bike. The work is growing, made worse by the tense silence that lingers between you. You barely speak, and when you do, it's clipped, cold, and silent truce at best. And by the time you reach the church, the sun is dripping low, casting the place in a shadowed, crimson glow. Everything feels on edge, and you can't tell if it's him or the damn mission. You test the door, but it's locked tight. As you and Leon find the open window, push it aside, scatter the breeze as you climb inside. The smell hits you immediately. Thick decay clinging the air like a warning. Your stomach twists. The interior is in disarray. Overturned pews, shattered glass lingering the floor, dried blood stains smeared on the walls. Near the altar, bones, tattered clothing lie in the haphazard pile, some looking fresher than others. A chill runs down your spine. Had the townsfolk been using this place for the sacrifices? Moving cautiously, you scan for the keycard until Leon gestures gestures up the wooden balcony, pointing to the white lab coat. He loosely over the railing. The skeleton slumps over it, twisted and limp. I'll go get it. No, I will. His gaze snaps at you, cold and challenging. If you're so eager to get yourself killed, go find some other way to do it. You clench your fist, stepping up to him, close enough to see how the hard line on his jaw. This man grates on you, always assuming he knows best. The frustration, the tension, it's coiled so tight in your chest as you barely think straight. If I want your opinion, I'd ask for it. Don't pretend you give a damn about me. The vim in your voice cuts through the air, and for a second you think you see something flicker in his eyes, something dark, like frustration, but edged with something hotter. He opens his mouth to reply, but before he can, a slow, wet, draping sound echoes through the church, dragging along the floor. The sun drips lower, casting an ominous glow over the scene creatures inside the church. Leon doesn't hesitate. He grabs your arm and pulls you towards the shadowed corner, where a small confession booth stands. You resist, glaring back at his mask, that fall to the ground as he tugs you forward, but his grip tighten, dragging you into cramped space before you can think twice. You barely make it inside before the heavy footsteps close in, filling the silence with sticking shuffle. The pheromones hit you first, a heady, overpowering scent, sugary and dark, coating your senses like a blanket you can't escape, your skin prickling with heat, a fresh creeping flush creeping up your cheeks, your pulse clickering. Poison ivy, stop it! You bite your lip, struggling to resist the haze, tingling sensation coursing through you. Leon's jaw tightens, his eyes narrowing as he fights the same effect. Mia like, I don't feel like I'm just gonna go over there and kick some butt. What? Hi, boss. Flames. Breaths are hollow. Each exhale brushing warmth against your neck. His hand finding yours. The contact grounding and electric, all the same. All at once. With trembling fingers, you grip open the math ball package, pressing it close to both your noses. It helps, but not enough. The creatures shake past outside, their scent hanging in there, winding its way to every inch of you, highlighting the tension between you and Leon. You cling to his arm, feeling the tautness of his muscles, and he restrains himself, his body cold, almost as if he was battling the urge to open the door and pursue them. His hands remain firmly yours, holding you in place, anchoring you to that moment. As the creatures finally shuffle away, and tension silence fills above. Your hand whips the door handle, ready to chase after them, but Leon's strong grip closes on over yours, holding it shut. His strength catches you off guard, and you roll to face him, anger flaring. Leon, let go! You're not going after them. Are you? The words alternate between something fierce inside you, and without a second thought, you push him hard, pinning him back against the wall. His jaw clenches, his eyes flashing with surprise and something else darker, more open. He's still as you hold him there, laying his gaze, staying up and filled with challenge, almost staring you. Who the hell do you think you are? You think you can just walk here and make everything right? You're only made things worse since you showed up. I can't wait for you to leave so I can forget all this. Forget that you were even here. The words hit him hard. He could see the anger flash across his face, mixed with something hurt. But instead of pushing back, he just looks at you, his voice thick with frustration. Trust me, I can't wait to forget about you too, reckless, stubborn. You come off, slamming his back against the wall, your lips meeting him in a desperate, fierce clash. There's no thought, no caution, just a world need of spilling over. Pit of frustration. Every moment is changed. It's not soft, John. We're just guessing. A low, almost pleading sound escapes him, a crack in his control. He turns around, pressing you firmly but carefully against the rough wood. His lips trail down your neck, lingering with each breath. His touch, violent and hesitant, as though he could barely hold back the flood of need beneath the surface. There's a fumble in his fingers. When you mount the bike, Leon reaches back to your hands, guiding them around his wrist. So, yeah, I had to edit a few things here just to make sure. His fingers linger a heartbeat longer than necessary. The final touch stirring the heat that hasn't quite left your body. You rest your cheek against his back, laying the warmth of him what you feel his body, his warmth of his body. It's cold out there. A smile hidden from his view. You both make it back to the house. Your body is worn out from the day's events. You tell yourself to forget it. You push your memories aside, and it clings to you, refusing to fade. The TV stand in the quiet, small, dark distance between you. Your eyes melt briefly before the both of you look away, awkward and uncertain. The silence pressed down, broken only by the sound of your breaths. You shift, trying to focus, but your mind keeps slipping right to him. So, who gets first watch? Neither of you look at each other as you step forward. You bump into him, his hands moving stiffly to steady you, his grip firm and grounding. He grunts out, flickering down his lips. It's like, I want to kiss him. We can decide later. The tension in his voice mirrors your own to hint something more than just exhaustion. Your gaze lingers on cells on his mouth. And it's like, let's make a kiss. Okay, so it deepens quickly, pulls back, scanning the room, brief look to focus, returning to his pressure. We need to focus. Pull back. You pull back, sensing something in his tone, a subtle warning. He's picking up on something, and his instincts are rarely wrong. Taking a deep breath, you glance around, steadying yourself as you pulse slows. Right, let's check everything first. The two of you move quickly through the house, but chill of unease spreads through you when you spot it. The window, slightly ajar, a faint sign of tampering. A surge of panic hits, and Leon quickly motions for you to be silent, his gaze sharp and focused. You barely have time to grab a few essentials before he gestures towards the door, urgently clearing his eyes. As you reach the bike, Leon climbs in, holding steady as you settle behind him. Just then, shadows emerge from your house, townsfolk creeping towards you with barely a sound. You barely duck in time as one of them takes aim, bullets gazing the air as Leon speds off, guiding you both out of danger. You ride silently into the forest. The night stretches on around you as you pull into the cover of an old campsite, a secluded hideout you kept hidden for emergencies. The run fades, leaving you shivering, and Leon pulls you close, wrapping you in a protective warmth. Thank you for being there. Leon shakes his head slightly, a small, almost captivating smile tugging at his lips. I don't realize it's nice having someone to watch your back. He glances at you, expression softening, and for a moment something shifts in the space between you. Something unspoken settles warm and heavy in your chest. Nice and terrifying. A nod, sensing a quiet kinship in him. Even with so little time to gather, it feels like your souls are crafted from the same battered material. Scarred but unbreakable, forged by the same fire. But I think I might want to try dealing with that feeling. There's a quiet vulnerability in his voice that makes you pause, and you find yourself nodding again, more slowly. Me too. He holds your gaze, the silence stretching out, carrying a weight you're both aware of. Either of you is ready to name. Gradually, the conversation shifts back to practice, and the two of you settle down, discussing the final plan in low voices as the night stretches on. But as dawn approaches, the sense of purpose gives way to something softer, something that feels like peace, a quiet acknowledgement of what you're facing and the strange comfort that you found in each other. Its unspoken promise, lingering between you and the first light, begins to filter in. The day has finally come. You spent what feels like a lifetime preparing for this, scavenging supplies, gathering weapons, and planning every possible step. On the way here, even ran into a strange merchant, as if he appeared out of thin air. He was selling, cocktails. Okay, of course we're in the video game universe. Of course, there's gonna be someone who's like, "Hi, you're your last part of the journey. You want some mocktail cocktails?" And in the security grenades, and you still have no idea where he came from, or where he disappeared to after. Word. It's like, how many did you buy? I would buy 999 of everything. Because it's our final bout. And with everything you acquired stashed in your worn duffel bag, you approach the wrap. Leon, walking beside you in intense silence. And the air feels charged, the kind of stillness that pressed down on you. Like the world itself knows that something is about to end. Today is the final day. One way or another, it'll be over. You sure about this last chance to turn back? You nod, telling your grandpa independent. There's no need to say it. You're beyond turning back now. You spent so long fighting to end this nightmare. At least you fulfill your promise. Here goes nothing, or you know everything. With a swift practice motion, Leon uses the key card on the rusted door. It swings open with a groan, and you step into the darkness of the lab, the stale air thick with decay and memories. Leon mumbles into his radio, requesting directions, his voice low and cudgeled. Then together you step into the darkness of the lab. Your sense is on high alert. The tunnels are dimly lit, shadows pulling in every corner, and it isn't long before the creatures start to emerge, drawn by the scent of the living. You and Leon fall into the sink immediately, wielding the fire and steel like extensions of yourselves. Flamethrower rolls to life. They're just bathing into the corners and flickering orange as you burn through the waves of creatures that come at you, one after another. Okay, instead of a flamethrower, bring out a Charizard. Their shrieks fill the nailed space, echoing off the walls, but you don't hesitate. You push it forward, side by side, determined to see this through. Every fire starters like out about, time to party. And in one of the tunnels, Leon stumbles upon the remains of the team he's been searching for. They didn't make it. Of course, the grim realization hardens his expression, and something fierce flickers in his eyes. With renewed fury, he presses forward. He strikes before it even becomes sharper. His movements more aggressive, as if each creature he cuts down might somehow make up for their loss. Finally, you reach the nest. It's a massive cavern, the walls crawling with the sinking, pale forms of the creatures, their lava pulsing in clusters with grotesque flowers. This sight makes your skin crawl, but you still yourself, knowing this is the heart of it all. This is where it needs to be destroyed. Well, That's disgusting. Almost makes me miss the zombies. Zombies? Oh yeah, Resident Evil. Zombies. Zombies. And before you ask, no, you don't want details. As you set down the bag, Leon starts to unroll the explosives. But as soon as you both start placing charges, you realize you're clasping, your movements disjointed, your plans conflicting. If we don't cover the eastern side, they'll swarm us before we can even set this off. If we don't secure the exit first, we're gonna be dead in here. I know how they move better than you do. This isn't about knowing them, it's about strategy. Just follow my lead. Your ego flares, your resentment boils over. This was supposed to be your mission. Your fight. You can't let him call the shots. Not now, not here. The armament escalates. The tension sharp as your voice rises. Filling the cavern. But you don't notice the subtle movement of the shadows, the way the creatures are watching, listening, drawing the discord as a cord between you. Suddenly, they surge forward, exploding the rift between you. One grabs Leon, pulling him away as he shouts your name, his voice panicked. Another tackles you, shaking claws into your shoulders as you struggle, but it's too late. You're separated, each of you fighting on your own, overwhelmed. And then your last thought is regret, wishing you had found a way to work together. But the chance is now gone now, swallowed by darkness. Continue. Okay, I guess I did the bad end. If you like my content, please subscribe if I do, help out, and comment down below. See you guys next time.